Example 1, reflecting and shifting an exponential function. We're going to sketch the graph of the function y is equal to 3 minus 2 to the power of x, and then determine its domain and range. So we're going to use Desmos for our graphing tool to find out what happens here when we reflect and shift an exponential function. Well, the first thing we need to graph is 2 to the power of x. So we're going to go ahead and put 2. And then we're going to raise it to the power of x. So here we can see what the graph looks like of the function 2 to the x. We know that we have a y-intercept at 0, 1. And so therefore that's what our graph looks like. Now the next thing we want to do is we're multiplying it by a negative. So that means we're going to be taking a negative, multiplying it by the function. So that means that we are reflecting it about the x-axis. So let's put a negative value in front of that. So therefore now our graph is now reflected about the x-axis. So now the y-intercept is located at 0, -1. Okay, now the next thing that we want to do is now we're going to have to shift this up how many units? Well, it's plus 3. So if we add 3 to that, that means that we shifted this up from 1, 2, 3 units. So now if you look at the value of 3, it doesn't go above 3, which means we have a horizontal asymptote at 3. And so therefore, this is the graph of reflecting and shifting an exponential function. So this is our graph. Now, let's just take a look at the graphs here. So this is what our steps were. First, we graphed y is equal to 2 to the x. And then we reflected it about the x-axis because of the minus. So remember here, I'm going to write this out. So the negative tells us to reflect about the x-axis. And then we shift up 3 units. And then if you look at this graph, the y equals 3 is considered our horizontal asymptote. Okay, so now the next part is we want to find the domain and the range. Well, now we're looking at this graph here. So what is the domain of this graph? Well, the domain of this graph means that we can plug in any value of x on the horizontal x-axis. So that means it's going to go from -infinity to +infinity. Or we can say that x can be all real numbers. Okay? And then for the range, okay, well the range, if you notice here, it goes all the way up to the value of 3. So if we know that it goes all the way up to 3, that means it's going to end at 3, but it doesn't touch 3. So therefore we have a parenthesis there. But where does it start? Well, it starts all the way down here. So if it's continuing here, that means it's going all the way down to -infinity. So you're starting with the smallest number, so it's going from -infinity to 3. And so therefore that represents the range.